Good evening. This is another excerpt from the interview that I did with some conservatives, where we talked about how does Calexit benefit business. Both of the people that I was talking to are business owners and entrepreneurs, and they're definitely fiscal conservatives, and otherwise, full gamut conservatives. And they seem to be caught off guard because they felt since Calexit is a progressive organization that stands for progressive values, that somehow we must be anti business. I was able to explain to them how, actually, despite all of the rest of the liberal um, culture that comes along with the idea of Calexit inherently baked into it, the actual plan is very pro business, whether people like that or not. It's very pro business. And it was nice to be able to talk to somebody who was in business, two different people, especially a man he was here in California and he went abroad to launch a business over there. And he was very skeptical at first, but about halfway through the interview, he started to talk like, well, you're going to see here in a second. Apologies to anybody for the language on the part of the conservatives. They are conservatives, don't necessarily share California values. Uh, that's already a given. Please enjoy. Okay, we're ready.
Question, if I can. If there's a separation, this seems like an unprecedented opportunity to have all kinds of reform, including the possibility to, have the state be out of the coverage of the American Invention Secrecy Act and open up the technology. Currently, there's about 6,000 seized technologies in America, which have been seized, again, kind of pseudo-federally through the U.S. Patent and Trade Office, which is run by Serco, which is a foreign company. It's a foreign agent. It's not an American company. So this is, Queen's Privy Council, British imperialist, colonialist actors in there, agents of the crown and subjects in there. So Serco runs the USPTO, not a Californian company. It should be a Californian company running that. So, have you guys considered having this new state having its own patent and trade office and independent from this insanity? You have 4,000 energy technologies that are seized. California cannot use those. Californian innovators cannot access that. And Californian innovators, if we want to make new technology, we're under risk of our technology being seized, being stolen from us being persecuted if we dare try to put any of those technologies into the marketplace. We're not allowed to do business as we want to in this state. The only way we can do that is leave. So this is an unprecedented opportunity for, kind of a reset, if you will, to get off of this federal garbage so that we actually have a basic humanitarian rights to do the innovation, build the innovation that we want, that humanity needs, that California needs. I mean, it's a record energy crisis right now, record water crisis right now, and we have all kinds of technology that they're seeking from us that we're not even allowed to use. What the hell is this? It is so diabolical that they continue this. And then they're going to talk climate change every day, and they're not willing to even release one of these technologies. I would love to, hear some commitments from the Calexit team and group, what they plan to do. Would they be seeking to, support the release of these technologies and make safe spaces so that innovators like us would be able to go and build what we want, free from oppression? But what would you guys do to accommodate this kind of thing?
So there's a book by Abraham Lowenthal, Professor Abraham Lowenthal, out of Long Beach State. He now teaches at USC. He's the preeminent expert on international trade, and especially coming into California. And he wrote a book called Global California, where basically he said California is held back financially by America. And the reason that it is that we have too many federal American regulations getting in the way of us doing all the awesome stuff we Californians do. Basically, he was talking about how in America, about 10% of the American economy is related to international trade, but in California, it's 40%, almost half. So we are dependent on other countries coming to agreement with us to ship goods, sell goods, transfer goods. America is not. And so California goes to America and says, hey, we got to deal with China for, $20 billion worth of something. They go, hey, we'll get back to you in 5 to 10 years after we've debated it to death. And that was Obama, the Democrat, and George W. Bush, the Republican, who both did the same behavior to California. They were both criticized equally by California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. And they're exactly what Professor Abraham Lowenthal was talking about. These federal regulations hold us back. Our economy, our people is not related to America. The number of court, so there's 12 different Supreme Court districts, right? They have federal circuit districts that review cases, and then those federal circuits can bump the case up to the Supreme Court. Of all those federal circuit districts, the one over California has the most number of overturned cases. What that means is that we're constantly coming up with new laws. The federal government says, no, you don't get to have that. We have so many new laws the federal government's slapping down. We are beyond the other 11 circuit districts by far. In fact, it's so bad that you had 2 different Supreme Court judges arguing that California needed to have its own circuit, completely autonomous, just as California state, because it's clogging up the Supreme Court with so many laws they have to strike down. You add that on top of what Professor Abraham Lowenthal talked about with our regulations being held up. Yeah, there'd be a massive sea change. One of the things a lot of conservatives don't get is that California is a very capitalist economy and very driven by money. We have all sorts of international trade goods. We are an international trade, export trade, economy, investment type place. We are super capitalist. A lot of people get that wrong. Our federal counterparts hold us back from making even more money and trade and sharing things. So anything that would grow the California economy, we would do, like making sure that we have access to those innovations and technologies. California had its own stock market, and we lost it to New York. We used to do our own international trade regulations in the 1930s, and we lost that to America. So we lose when we don't have these things on our own, and it is our typical nature to have these industrial counterparts or mechanisms you need to run a modern society and economy here. So massive deregulation, massive amounts of California making its own version of whatever it relied on America for. So we're going to have our own stock market. We'll have our own stock market regulation. We'll have our own national bank in California. We love regulations. We're not going to just go by whatever America had. We'll make all our own stuff and have our own version. So I view this as a gigantic boom to California businesses because for the first time, business leaders could just go to Sacramento, complain, and get what they want, rather being told by Sacramento, sorry, we can't do anything. We'll get back to you in 5 to 10 years whenever the feds give us permission. I mean, this happens all the time. Air quality regulations, banning foie gras. We don't get to do anything without the feds stepping in. Now, if the feds were gone, imagine how much stuff we get done faster. That is a detriment to California businesses that we're not able to do this, and they have said so, and it's been documented.
Hope you enjoyed that clip. That was how Calexit is a benefit to businesses. We've said that for a while. But this was an interview with a Californian who had left California because the business climate wasn't that great, asking us, well, hey, what are you going to do to make the business climate better? How is Calexit good for the business climate? Speaking as somebody who left the state and had lived there for 10 years and felt the business climate wasn't good enough. And I hope you saw how towards the end, the guy was nodding his head up and down and smiling very slightly, but it's more a dark background. If you look closely, it's so when people hear how Calexit benefits businesses, they are intrigued. Calexit is good for business. That's just the truth. Yes, we're super lefty. Yes, we're super progressive. Yes, we believe in all of the ideas you see about California on TV and on Fox News. And yes, we love that and we never want to change. But that doesn't say that we don't understand international trade and competition and excellence and excellent marketing and sales and new products. It's kind of silly. I always felt that was a little bit discriminatory. This place is very pro business. The regulations are too tight. Absolutely. I noticed I just lost a viewer when I said regulations were uh, this place is pro business. California is very business. The people are. The government is providing too much regulation. We've always said that with Calexit. And you were able to see a clip. You can watch the full interview over at Odyssey or Weaponized News. Thank you and good night.